Most people kill their first plant and assume gardening just isn't for them. But here's what nobody tells you. It was never your fault. You were probably given the wrong plant. See, there are plants out there so tough, so forgiving, that they practically grow themselves. And today, I'm going to show you 8 of them. Plants that don't care if you forget to water them for a week. Plants that thrive even when you have no idea what you're doing. And one of them, you've probably walked past it 100 times without realizing it could be sitting in your garden right now, completely free. Stick with me till the end, because the last one on this list is going to surprise you. Welcome back to Gentle Greens, the place where we make gardening feel less like a chore and more like something you actually look forward to. If you're new here, so glad you found us. This channel is all about growing beautiful, thriving gardens without draining your wallet or your energy. Before we dive in, do me a small favor. If you've ever killed a plant and felt personally attacked by it, drop a little seedling emoji in the comments right now. Let me know I'm not alone in this. And if you've been here before, welcome back. You already know we keep things real around here. All right, let's get into it. Plant 1, marigolds. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Marigolds? Really? Bear with me here. Most people see marigolds as those little orange flowers that grandmothers plant along their driveways. And yes, they do that. But what most beginners don't realize is that marigolds are doing serious work underground and above it at the same time. They release a natural chemical through their roots that repels certain soil pests, particularly nematodes, which are tiny worms that destroy root systems. So when you plant marigolds near your tomatoes, your peppers, your beans, you're basically setting up a bodyguard that works for free. They grow in almost any soil. They don't need rich compost or fancy fertilizer. Water them when the soil feels dry and let the sun do the rest. And they bloom for months. Months. That means your garden has color and protection going into it from a plant that costs almost nothing to start. Plant 2, sweet potato vine. Now this one is underrated in the most criminal way. Sweet potato vine is not the same as the sweet potato you eat, though they're related. This variety is grown purely for its leaves and its ability to spread beautifully across the ground or tumble down the sides of containers. Why do I love it for beginners? Because it grows fast, like embarrassingly fast. You plant it once, and within weeks your bare patch of soil is covered with lush, cascading leaves in shades of lime green, deep burgundy, or bronze depending on which variety you get. It suppresses weeds naturally because it covers ground so quickly nothing else gets a chance to sprout. It handles heat well. It doesn't ask for much water once it's established. And it makes any garden bed or balcony pot look intentional and designed even when you genuinely just stuck in some soil and walked away. Plant 3, aloe vera. You already know about aloe vera for sunburns and skincare. But as a garden plant, it's one of the most low-maintenance living things on this planet. Aloe stores water in its leaves, which means it can go weeks without being watered. Weeks. It thrives in bright light and poor soil. It actually does better when you slightly neglect it than when you fuss over it. Overwatering is basically its only enemy. Here's something people miss though. Aloe produces offsets, which are small baby plants that grow right at its base. Once those get big enough, you can separate them and pot them individually. So one plant becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, and suddenly you have gifts to give, plants to sell, or more aloe for every corner of your home and garden. It's a plant that literally multiplies while you do nothing. Plant 4, lemongrass. Here's where things get genuinely interesting. Lemongrass is used in cooking across West Africa and Southeast Asia. It's in soups, teas, herbal remedies. And it grows in a thick, dramatic clump that adds real structure to any garden space. But here's what most beginner gardeners overlook. Lemongrass naturally repels mosquitoes. It contains citronella, the same compound in those mosquito coils and sprays. So while you're growing a plant you can cook with and make tea from, it's also sitting there quietly, making your outdoor space more comfortable to sit in. It loves sun. It tolerates drought once established. It grows back even after you cut it down. And in warm climates, it grows almost aggressively, meaning you won't be babying this one. You'll actually be managing how much it wants to grow. Plant 5, spider plant. Don't let the name put you off. Spider plants are one of the most forgiving plants ever documented. NASA actually included them in a study on air purifying plants because of how well they filter indoor pollutants. But outdoors, in partial shade or bright indirect light, they thrive just as easily. What makes spider plants special for beginners is the way they reproduce. They send out long, arching stems with tiny baby plants hanging off the ends like little passengers. You snip those babies off, stick them in water or soil, and within days they're rooting and growing on their own. No seeds, no complicated process, no cost. You can build an entire garden bed of spider plants from a single mother plant within one season. They're dramatic, they're textured, they fill space beautifully, and they ask for almost nothing in return. By the way, if you're finding this helpful so far, this is exactly the kind of content we put out every week on this channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, tap that button now. It's free, it costs you nothing, and it means you won't miss a single tip. And if any of these plants are already growing in your garden, drop a comment below and tell me which one. I genuinely read every single one. Plant 6, cowpea black-eyed peas. Now here's the one that surprises almost every gardener I talk to. Cowpea, commonly known as black-eyed peas, one of the most nutritious, productive, and beginner-friendly food crops you can grow in a warm climate garden. And most people never think of it as a garden plant because it's so normal to them as a food. But think about it this way. You plant it once from seeds you probably already have in your kitchen. It grows quickly, climbs if you give it something to hold on to, and within weeks it's producing pods filled with food. It fixes nitrogen in the soil, meaning it actually improves the quality of your garden bed while it grows. It handles heat and dry conditions better than most vegetables. It attracts beneficial insects. And when the season is done, you can dry the pods and save seeds for next year. It's free food from almost free effort. And it makes your garden productive in a way that feels deeply satisfying. Plant 7, portulaca moss rose. If you've ever tried to grow flowers and watch them wilt and die within a week, portulaca is about to change your life. This plant is built for hot, dry, difficult conditions. It's succulent, meaning its thick leaves hold water, which lets it survive heat that would kill most flowering plants. It blooms in the most vivid, almost unreal colors. Hot pinks, electric oranges, deep reds, butter yellows, all on one compact little plant. It self-seeds. This means once it flowers, it drops seeds into the soil, and those seeds become new plants the following season without you doing anything. It's essentially a plant that replants itself. You can start portulaca from very cheap seed packets. You scatter the seeds, press them lightly into the soil, water once, and step back. The sun and warmth take it from there. For beginners who want color without stress, there is genuinely nothing better. Plant 8, moringa. And here we are at the last one. The one I promised would surprise you. Moringa. You've heard of it. You may have drunk it in a tea or seen it in a supplement store. But have you ever thought of growing it in your own garden? Because here's what most people don't realize. Moringa is one of the fastest growing trees in the world. In warm climates, it can grow up to 3 meters in its first year. You can literally watch this tree grow. Every single part of it is useful. The leaves are eaten fresh or dried and powdered. The seeds can be used to purify water. The roots, the pods, the bark all have documented uses in traditional medicine and cooking. And from a gardening perspective, it's almost unkillable. Poor soil, drought, minimal care. Moringa handles all of it. You can cut it back hard and it regrows without complaint. If you've always wanted something productive and impressive in your garden, but didn't know where to start, this is your answer. Plant a moringa seed today, and in 12 months you'll have a tree. So there you have it. 8 plants that give you so much more than you put in. Marigolds protecting your garden while painting it gold. Sweet potato vine covering your ground like a living carpet. Aloe multiplying quietly in the corner. Lemongrass pulling double duty in the kitchen and the garden. Spider plants practically growing themselves and gifting you new ones. Cowpea feeding your family from seeds you already own. Portulaca turning a dry patch into a painting. And moringa growing faster than almost anything else while feeding you in ways most people haven't even begun to explore. Gardening doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to start somewhere. And any one of these 8 plants is a perfect first step. If this video helped you, please give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who are just starting out and need exactly this kind of information. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because next week we're going into how to set up your first garden bed for under 5,000 naira. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Drop a comment below. Tell me which of these 8 plants you're going to start with. Or if one of them is already growing in your space. I want to know. Let's talk down there. Thank you for watching Gentle Greens. Take care of your garden, and it will take care of you.